Hey everybody, welcome in the Red Zone. Shaun and Mike here, and we're finally there. Week 1 predictions for college football. Not a whole bunch of games to be played.
Yeah.
It's just a different year with COVID, with a lot of games postponed. We did already have one game, Central Arkansas and Austin P. I think you say their name P. I've always said PA.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard the announcer say Austin P during the game, so I don't know which
Tomato, tomato.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, that was an exciting game, and Central Arkansas came out 24-17 win in that one. Of course, we never picked that one, and we will call that week 0.
Yeah.
Call that week 0.
It was kind of, start of the game is kind of a negative week. It just started with so many turnovers, and the first couple punts were for negative yards, and the quarterback had the first positive punt of the game.
But I think that's to be expected this year.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see more of that this weekend. I mean, just to get into that groove. And
dude, Austin, PA had Baker Mayfield Light out there with Oatsfall. Man, that guy, if he could get it together and just, put together a solid game, he could be really, really good.
So anyway, there's not a whole lot going on. Of course, we know Pac-12, Big Ten not playing. We've already talked about that. So it's a unique year. Notre Dame joining the ACC. You got things happening. People filing lawsuits trying to get the Big Ten to play. It's too late. It's too late. It's 1st of September, and so we've got what we've got.
I saw somebody posted that that the Big Ten could start in, I think October it was, and they need 6 weeks to be able to prepare. A lot of the schools were saying in the summertime, if we don't have 6 weeks to prepare and have a camp, we can't do a season. But I think somebody said if you started in the middle of October, which they'd have to move quickly. If they started in the middle of October, they could get all their games done with a little break before December 12th, before the bowl season would start. That way, none of the other conferences would have to, sit back and wait for them to finish a season. Because if they don't start with enough time for them to finish, I mean, it's going to be ugly.
To do that, though, you have to forego the Big Ten championship game, because you're starting way too late, and the playoff committee's already said we're going to have a playoff, we're going to have a national championship. So if they said today, okay, we're going to start, you're talking second week of October before they play a first game. You got to play minimum 10 games.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're behind that ball right there, and so you're finishing up a regular season while the other teams have probably already played their conference championship game.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't think it happens. So we'll wait and see what happens. But let's go ahead, and we're going to talk about the games this week.
And one thing to really think about these first few weeks is we don't really know a whole lot about these teams.
No.
I mean, we can research these teams all we want, but there's some teams right now that haven't even named starting quarterbacks, so it's all just kind of speculation.
Yeah.
A lot of speculation goes into our part.
And we said that last year. The first couple games, you don't know what a team has. I mean, and you know who's coming back and who isn't, but you don't know how they're going to gel as a group.
Yeah.
I mean, so it really is a crapshoot. And so just keep in mind, for me, I would never bet the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it was just an absolute solid pick, but. I think you're throwing your money away if you're trying to bet in these first few weeks, especially this season. I mean, you got so many guys sitting out. You don't know how many practices they've actually gotten in. I mean, we talked about the Central Arkansas game being just ugly, to begin. And we're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see a lot of turnovers in week 1.
Yeah.
Teams are going to have to try to social distance on the sidelines and things that they've never had to do before. It's going to be a practically empty stadium. So that crowd noise that gets you jacked up when you make a big play, it's not going to be there. So there's a whole lot of factors that play in to this season. So just keep that in mind. But okay. So there's one really good game here in the slate this weekend. We're going to pick 8 games here, but let's just start out Thursday, September 3rd. You have Central Arkansas, who's already 1-0. They're taking on UAB. There is no official spreads. A lot of these games Vegas hasn't put any numbers out on. So we're going to do our own just for entertainment purposes, for having fun.
Yeah.
We're trying to be very fair with this. So no spread on Central Arkansas UAB. We have it as, I think we decided 21.5 in favor of UAB. So we're going to give UAB 21.5 point favorite here. What do you think, Shaun?
I'll take UAB. I believe this is their non-conference game. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. At UAB. I don't know. I know Central Arkansas got the win, and they've got a decent quarterback. It's just when you take that next step up, I mean, I think this game will start out relatively similar to what you saw in the Austin, PA game, where some mistakes are made. They kind of take their time to get going, but then maybe in the second half, UAB takes off with it.
I think Central Arkansas has a little bit of advantage since they've already played and they've already gotten that first half out of the way. So for me, although I think UAB should win this game by more than 21 points, just because of the fact that I think UAB maybe is sloppy in that first half, I will take Central Arkansas not to win, but to cover the spread, and I'm going to take them.
Here's one thing I was thinking on my way over here was UAB now has film on Central Arkansas.
They do.
Central Arkansas doesn't have any film on UAB right now.
That's true.
So
but I
think that could hurt them.
It could, but at the same point, I think it washes out in a sense that, I mean, yeah, UAB has the film, but UAB has only played against each other in practice. We don't know how much hitting they've actually done. I mean, in most of these practices, I mean, most of these schools, there's some of them, I won't say a lot, but there's some of them that haven't even hit yet.
Yeah.
And they're going to go in, and the first time they're going to have contact is in a game. So I don't really know if that's the case with UAB, but I just think Central Arkansas, having that one game under their belt, having played 4 quarters and having contact, I think helps them at least cover the spread. Okay. Next game, South Alabama is playing Southern Miss. Southern Miss currently a 15.5-point favorite. This one again, Thursday night. This is 8 o'clock Central Time, CBS Sports Network. South Alabama in the last few years hasn't been very good at all. They just haven't. And Southern Miss is a solid program, solid team. You know, they're right there. I think they're usually bowl eligible at least.
Yeah.
15.5, I don't think that's too much. I think Southern Miss can cover 15.5.
Yeah, I do too. They lost their last 3 of last year to Tulane, FAU, and Western Kentucky. South Alabama closed the year beating Arkansas State in the very last game of their season. And then they lost to Georgia State, Louisiana, and Texas State, and App State, who was ended the year ranked at number 21. But yeah, I'll go with Southern Miss. It's at Southern Miss. I'll take the home team.
Yep. Let's move on to the Saturday games. Eastern Kentucky is at Marshall. Again, no official spread on this one. We have decided on 24 points for Marshall. So Marshall, a 24-point favorite as far as what we're concerned. A home game for Marshall. Marshall disappointed a little bit last year, but I think Eastern Kentucky is way overmatched in this.
Yeah.
So I'll take Marshall to cover 24.
Yeah, I'll take Marshall as well. Again, it's a home game for Marshall. I think ESPN had their matchup predictor at like 95.5%.
Something like that.
I'm going to take Marshall.
Okay. Middle Tennessee is taking on Army. Army's currently 3.5-point favorite. Again, Saturday. This is on CBS Sports Network. You know, Army's a solid program. Middle Tennessee was pretty good last year too. 3.5 tells you that it's a pretty close game. I think with the game being played at West Point, I have to give the edge to Army. 3.5 is not huge. This could be a 1-point game, but I'll take Army to cover 3.5.
I'd like to see the amount of times when Army's had 3.5 or 1.5 point spread.
Yeah.
Because that's really, I mean, if there was a team to just start out the year and cover a spread, I think it would be Army.
Yeah.
You know, ball control, discipline, that offense that they run.
I also feel like that just be given the situation that's been going on with COVID.
Yeah.
To me, I think the military academies will be a lot better prepared than any other football programs in the country, just because of the fact, I mean, they can't really social distance, and they're out there like they're doing maneuvers and they're out there doing training.
Yeah.
And so they're in shape, and they haven't really had the delays and the off time that everybody else has. I mean, they've been hard at work from the get-go.
Yeah.
Maybe not practicing football, but I think these guys are probably in better shape as well. So
Yeah.
I would give the edge to Army.
Yeah, same here.
SMU is at Texas State. SMU is a 22-point favorite. Texas State's not a very good program. I don't mean to dog you guys, but they just historically are just not very good. SMU has turned a corner in my opinion. They are a high-profile offense. Can score at will at times. And 22 to me feels like it might even be low, so I'll take SMU cover 22.
Yeah, SMU might have the best. We'll see what UCF does, but SMU might have the best group of 5 quarterback in Shane Buechele.
Yeah.
He comes back for one more year, and I think he just keeps going. I mean, he's got some continuity there now, so I think he comes out and has a pretty decent year.
I'd say you're right about him being one of the best. Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati's another one because he's back this year, so he's pretty good too. But you're right, and so yeah, SMU should cover that. Houston Baptist is at North Texas. No spread on this one. We settled on North Texas 28.5. I would be comfortable even if it came out at 31 or 32. I think North Texas is just this is one of those where I don't know the dynamics about how this game got scheduled. I feel like this was probably a last-second throw together to try to just make a schedule. But North Texas they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty good. And so I don't think they would have a problem covering 28.5. If the spread get up to 32 or 33, that might be on the line. But I'll take North Texas to cover.
Yeah, they got they just got a transfer, Amani Gilmore from Kentucky. Don't know a lot about him. He has yet to take a snap, but I'm really interested in who's going to start at quarterback there.
And that brings up a great point because every year you always have people that transfer.
Yeah.
And certainly going from Kentucky to North Texas, you would think he would have the upper hand. But this is kind of a bad year for transfers because you've transferred in, but you really haven't gotten to do a lot of work. You haven't really gotten to get that timing down. I mean, I know that teams have been practicing, but it's not the same. And so, it kind of puts them behind the 8 ball there, I think, as far as getting ready for the season.
I'll be pretty interested to see what they do with Mason Fine after him leaving, because he was probably the most decorated quarterback there at North Texas. And when you have to come out and replace a guy like that, and shout out to, I think, Sulphur, Oklahoma, I think was where he's from. I could be wrong on the town, but he's an Oklahoma guy. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do in replacing that quarterback.
So you got them covered?
Yeah.
Okay. A good game here on Saturday night on ESPN. Arkansas State at Memphis. Memphis is currently a 19-point favorite. But don't sleep on Arkansas State. They're one of those programs that can jump up and make a game of it sometimes, and with the uncertainty going on. But it's at Memphis. Memphis again probably going to contend or be one of the contenders for the American Conference. They're going to be right up there with Cincinnati. So I'll take Memphis to cover 19.
Yeah, same here.
Stephen F. Austin is at UTEP. No spread on this one. What would we say? 10, I think was what 10 or 11. The spread is what we said we'd make it.
Yeah, that's the one I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's 10. We'll go with 10.
Yeah.
So, again, this is our own spread that we're making. No official spread on this one. Stephen F. Austin at UTEP. UTEP usually struggles every year. Stephen F. Austin is a decent program. They're decent, and they're good for some wins. They always compete every year against teams that are far beyond better than they are. Giving Stephen F. Austin 10 points here, I think some people might be surprised about that but I'm going to take Stephen F. Austin to cover 10 and beat UTEP, probably by 12 or 13.
I'm going to take UTEP in the Sun Bowl.
Okay.
Early in the year. They gave Oklahoma some trouble a few years ago.
Yeah.
Really gave them some trouble at the Sun Bowl. We had some UTEP fans kind of get on me because I was saying it was kind of ridiculous to go play there. I'm sorry, but, I didn't understand it, but you guys had your feelings about it. But, I'll take UTEP.
Okay.
Kind of take some...
I think that's the only one we've disagreed on so far.
Was it? I thought we had one.
Or I took Central Arkansas and you took the first. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Last game to talk about. This is Monday night, Labor Day night or whatever. To me, it's a great matchup to have in Week 1. I mean, and that's BYU at Navy. Right now, this is even. So
Yeah.
this is a pick 'em right now. Now this opened with Navy about 2.5 point favorite. It slid to BYU to being a 1.5 favorite. Now it's moved back to even. So I think people are just not sure they're evenly matched. To me, I'm just going to take I'm taking Navy.
Yeah.
It's home, and like I said, I think the military academies at this point, because of everything that's going on with COVID-19, I think the military academies are just ahead right now. I think they are ahead of any other programs, and in an even pick, you got to give the military academy.
Yeah, going from Idaho all the way to New York. Maryland. Yeah, that's right.
Annapolis, Maryland.
Yeah, Army's in New York.
Yeah.
But just traveling that far, you've got the stress of traveling. How much is that going to affect these kids, the coaches? All the procedures that they're going to have to go through just to get there is going to feel like preparation in itself, for a week. So I'm going to take Navy. I think the safe bet is to take Navy in this one. They had a great finish to last year. They beat SMU. They beat Kansas State. So not that Kansas State was any, powerhouse or anything, but they ended the year winning the last 4, and I think they open up with a win.
Yep, be a great win for them. So that's it for the picks. You have anything else before we close out?
Not really. Just stay safe. I mean,
you named their starting quarterback today.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler.
Wasn't a surprise. Everybody knew it was coming.
Yeah, worst kept secret.
Yeah, exactly. So now all eyes on what Tanner Mordecai will do. But
yeah, I think he'll stay. It's in his best interest to stay, and then he's got basically 3 years. I mean, why transfer now? Get some experience, get some coaching, and one more year of coaching under Coach Riley.
Yeah. You're right, because now's not the best time to be transferring.
Right.
Really
just stay where you're at. You're one play away from getting in the game. I mean, we've had starting quarterbacks go down, and a backup needs to come in. I mean, I think Trevor Knight was the last one that really got injured bad, and they wish they would have had a backup like Tanner Mordecai. I mean, they had Blake Bell, who was kind of transferring to tight end at that point, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see, 4th starting quarterback in 4 years. So we'll see if they can beat Texas with a 4th straight quarterback.
Unfortunately, I know you does this every year, but unfortunately their first game against Murray State is not Murray State. Who they play? Wasn't Murray State.
It's
Montana State.
No, it's
I can't remember. Anyway,
Missouri State.
Anyway,
right?
The game was pay-per-view.
Yeah.
$40 to watch the game.
Well, 50 if you don't have Cox.
Yeah, I know.
If you have Cox, it's like 35. If you don't, it's 55.
If you're a diehard like him, money's no big deal. Like, you're going to watch it. But
I'll go to a friend's house. We'll chip in. I thought about going to Buffalo Wild Wings or something.
Yeah, because I wouldn't pay $40.
Just
but I would
it.
if it was Ohio State.
Go to Reddit and somebody's got a link for the free stream.
Somebody will illegally stream it somewhere, so you can pick up.
I'm excited.
Not that we're telling you to do that.
We're just days away from press conferences. What are you going to ride with LSU again this year? Since
with no Ohio State, I don't know. I mean,
they just lost Shelvin, their
did you hear
starting defensive tackle, and Jamar Chase is opting out.
Yeah, and Ohio State had a player shot in the face.
Yeah.
Trying to defend some girl, and somebody shot him right through the. Oh man, terrible. Just awful that
It's
happened.
crazy. This world's nuts. That's why I say stay safe and be healthy and wear a mask when you're out in public. And let's get our lives back to some sort of semblance of what they used to be.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing you brought up, going to Buffalo Wild Wings, but with the way the restaurants are, and
that's true. Somebody
you can't pack a restaurant to watch a game.
Somebody will have that game on. I mean, it's Oklahoma. I mean, we love football.
I read that Auburn had to shut down practices over COVID concerns. I don't know the full details, but
Well, teams like UCF having 10 players opt out.
Yeah.
Now it remains to be seen if all those players are thinking they're going to try their hand in the NFL, if they're just going to say, we're not playing, we'll just go to class and work out.
Well,
and
I think
next year
everybody's been given an extra year eligibility.
Right.
If you sit out, it doesn't really matter as far as that's concerned. So, yeah, just a lot of uncertainty right now, but we've got one game in the books, so that makes me feel good about we're going to have some more played. So.
And they did test afterwards. There was not one positive new case out of that game.
That's great.
So that's another check in the pro column.
And with BYU, and you brought it up, but one of the other things is they can't take a bus; they're going to be flying. To Maryland. Is that plane going to be disinfected before they get on it?
Yeah.
When they get there, are they going to test and make sure? They might have 4 or 5 guys who test before the game and can't play all of a sudden. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen this year.
And
it's unusual.
And procedures in college, if you test positive, you're out 14 days.
Yeah.
If you didn't test positive, but you were in their contact tracing protocols, you have to stay out 20 days. Yeah. So there have been players, or I think it's 12 days 10 or 12 days if you have it, and then I think maybe 14, maybe not 20. I think one OU player, Norwood, he wasn't tested positive, but he was contact traced, and so he was out 20 plus days. And that wears on those players. Like, am I going to have a spot when I come back?
Yeah.
How much, did the guy behind me, progress and get up and move up into that depth chart? And it's got to be frustrating for these kids. And I just, if you happen to be a college football player and you're watching this, just keep your head down and just keep working. Yeah. I mean, that's all I can say.
Don't go out to these parties and stuff. Like, limit your exposure to other people. Just focus on football. I mean, there will be time for
you can
expose
your whole position group just by going out somewhere, coming back to a team meeting, and now you've got offensive linemen that are filling in for defensive linemen in practice.
I will say, here in Oklahoma, we had talk about a couple high school teams. We had Mustang versus UConn was supposed to be Friday night. A week ago, Mustang scrimmage Choctaw. One of the Choctaw players has since tested positive for COVID. Well, going through the health department, they had to review all the scrimmage film and all this and that, and Mustang identified several, I don't know the exact number, but several players that they deemed close contact with the player who tested positive. So those players all had to be quarantined and separated, and the quarantine lasts through Friday night.
Man.
So they've moved the game from Friday to Saturday.
Wow. Just
so those players can actually play, because otherwise they wouldn't be allowed to play because they'd still be in quarantine.
And how do you do walkthrough with these players? How do you make sure that they're getting everything? I mean, you're going to see I think this year you're going to see a lot more injuries than you ever have. I mean, I just think that
depth will be a major
freshman
factor this year, with like having guys ready to go who are younger.
Just from following Oklahoma, it's kind of been talked about that more freshmen will play this year and be leaned on because they get this year for free.
Yeah.
Why not play them? I mean, you get your entire team, which I got to hand it to the NCAA for doing this, but when you're not giving up that year, I mean, why not play your entire team and just get them, ready for the next year? And we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, that's all we have. Please like this video if you haven't liked it. Subscribe. Comment. We love to hear your comments. Want to hear what you think about the picks. Obviously, some of these we made up the spreads, so we could be wildly off. We don't know. Again, we do this for fun, for entertainment purposes, as much as anything. So, and go check us out on Twitter. We'll try to stay active on that. And guys, let's go. It's football season, and we'll see you with the next show.